What's going on, world? It's your main man, the author. Right back at that ass again. Here's another one. You know what it is. What's going on, man? I just want to make this brief, quick video. I was thinking about something, man, when I was ironing my clothes, trying to get ready for tomorrow. And basically, it's based on some of the thoughts I used to have when I was young. You know, being in the inner city, I used to think that quite possibly all white people were racist, right? One way or the other. You know, I was thinking they all probably are racist. You know, they all don't like black people. You know, things of that nature. And, you know, you're young, you're coming up, you know, and there's a lot of hatred and anger, I guess, on both sides of the fence. And no doubt some whites are racist against black people. And then it's racism in every group. But here's the thing. When looking at it from a worldwide perspective, when we're talking about all groups and how they, let me minimize this, and how they may look at a particular group. You know, sometimes, you know, black people wonder how the world sees them. They may not admit it, but, you know, and it seems like the media is real big at putting certain images out, you know, that don't reflect the best of the group. It doesn't represent the group the way it should. But here's the thing to it, what I've been thinking about. What if, say, all people aren't racist? What if you have a certain amount of people, say, whites, Asians, or say Italians, Irish, even if you break it down by ethnic groups, right? Say you have some groups that like black people, right? And say you have another group that no matter what you do, no matter what a black person may do, they're going to hate you. So they're on the other side of the pendulum. So you have one side that loves blacks. You have one side that hates blacks, right? You have one group of people who love, one group that hate. And then you have that, what I call the swing vote. You know, the swing vote. That's like, you know, the swing group, meaning these people are in the middle. They pretty much don't have an opinion one way or the other. They don't hate blacks. They don't love blacks, right? So they're the swing. They can go either way. But take, for instance, they see something on TV where, you know, a rapper, for example, say it was like a Mexican or a white person. Let's take whites, for example. Really never grew up around black people. I know I met when I first went to the Navy, when I first joined the Navy many years ago. I had whites that say that told me that they didn't see their first, they didn't see a black person until they joined the Navy. You know, because it's a little bit different for whites. I mean, you can be black in an inner city, but you have to see a white person because we have to go to them for everything. We're dependent. Our economy, if you want to call it that, is dependent upon them. They aren't dependent upon us. So, I mean, even if you're in an inner city, like we were on welfare, on social services, you have to go down to the office to get social services. They're going to be white people working in the office. You can be a white person and growing up on a farm. You never have to see a black person. So say, for example, these people, right, who never grew up, grew up around black people. So the only information they get is through TV. So say, for example, you will have like a DMX, right? DMX, motherfucker. You know, you see, you know, hardcore type rap type stuff. And then and you can write that off as just like, or certain, like some of the mumble rappers now that are out glorifying the drugs and the things of that nature. And you can write that off as, okay, that's just entertainment, right? But then even off camera, there's news stating that these guys got arrested for marijuana or a handgun. Jim Jones just got in. He was with the diplomats. He just got in trouble for having a handgun and marijuana. So even when they're not making songs, they're still getting into a situation with trouble. So the people, the swing vote, they see the situation, right? And or they'll see like the fights on Facebook and stuff like that. So the swing vote could say, well damn, you know, and some, just like when I was teaching the school, the kids were proud of being a part of. I mean, that school that I taught at was one of the worst schools in the state, and they actually cheered when I said that. So if you got a group of people who embrace being violent and over sexualized, or they embrace the criminal behavior, the swing vote might say, the swing vote that comes from intact cultures might say, well, hey, look, man, I don't have anything against him either way, but if I happen to see one or two in my neighborhood, I think it'll be better, for me to notify authorities. If I see anybody that looks even close to the same complexion as a DMX or some of these other people, then I think it will be safe for me to be. It's better to be safe than sorry. They may just be in my neighborhood. Say if he's from an all white neighborhood, right? Or say you're from, even if you spin it, say you're a white person, right? And you never had to grow up around black people, and you're a part of that swing vote. And the only information you get is from TV or the media mostly. And you see on Facebook though, so that's actual recordings of black females fighting all the time, things of that nature. Now you live in a predominantly white neighborhood, you see a black person walking in your neighborhood for some reason, they don't live in that neighborhood, you've never seen them before, and then they walk up to someone's house and then they walk back. It's like, well, I never saw them before. I don't know them, but based on what I've seen and heard, it probably will be best for me to call the authorities just to be safe. You know what I'm saying? Is that how they're looking at it? You know what I'm saying? Because I've been watching a lot of news lately where people are talking about whites are always calling the authorities on black people, and for various reasons. And I think this one lady, her son was delivering a paper to this household in this neighborhood that they didn't live in, and someone called the authorities. Not to say I mean, and they were mixed or black. Not to say that calling the cops on kids is a good thing to do, but I'm starting to realize, man, that some of the things I thought that were cool as a kid ended up ultimately can end up having a bad impact on regular people, on common people that may belong to that group. Like, for example, this guy, right? He was a rapper, Kwame. He had this skit that I saw on Facebook. He said that, and he's right about this because I caught on to hip hop in '87. He said about up till 1992, rappers spent more time trying to, and this is probably what he said, verbatim, but he said rappers spent more time trying to show the world that, we aren't criminals, we aren't thugs, we're not murderers, because we know those reputations was out there. We're not thieves, we're not robbers, we're not murderers, we're intelligent black people, and we have a voice. And he said prior to 1992, Kwame said most blacks didn't even curse on record because they felt that it wasn't necessary. He was like, so most blacks spent more time trying to show how intelligent they were. He said, now look at rap. He said, you tell me if it's about that now. He said, all I know is the average rapper will tell you that he will shoot you. He will stick you up. Even if he has $6 million in the bank, he'll still stick you up. He will rob you. He will sell dope because it's all about getting that money. It's all about getting that paper. And he said rap now has become the parody of what people used to say rap was. Like the movie Chris Rock was in, straight out, I think it was in the 90s, straight out of Low Cash or something like that, where he was trying to make fun of the stereotypes people had of black music. Kwame said, at this current time, black music is that parody. What people used to laugh at and say, "Oh, this is you're falling to the stereotype." He said, "Rap has become that stereotype," and I think he has a good point because I didn't manage to see a big change in rap over the years, but the stuff I was kind of getting into, because when I first listened to rap, you didn't really hear many people cursing, and it was, even if like the only rappers who cursed was NWA, Ghetto Boys, and 2 Live Crew, and it was hard to get their albums, depending on what store you went to. Even the albums that had cursing in it, a lot of stores only sold a clean version because no one really cursed on record, so they assume you ain't want to hear that. But that was back in 1990. But here's the thing: I think some of that stuff like that, some of the like the DMXs and things like that, some of that stuff that was out that seemed cool in the late 90s, and not saying I'm blaming rap for that, but those images, those images that people see that the media reflects to the world, people make judgment on that. And some people really get scared or frightened by that. Now, some kids like to listen to it, but, just like if I just saw the like the rock stuff. Now, in the 80s, where you had the Kiss and the Twisted Sister. Now some of those white boys look crazy when I was a kid in the 80s with Kiss, and they had the purple tongue. Them white boys look crazy. Now, if that was the only image of whites that I saw, I would have been scared of white people, because I would be like, oh man, these guys are devil worshippers, X, Y, Z, and a third. But being you're from the inner city and you have to interact with whites, you go out into the world, you go to social services, you don't see whites like that. You go to the doctor's office, the whites aren't like that. You go to the dentist's office, whites aren't like that. And if they are, they know how to cover it up, right? You would never know it. You know what I'm saying? And quite the contrary. Excuse me, like I said before, excuse me. So you get to see, being from the inner city, you get to see whites who aren't like that. You know what I'm saying? And then when those rock groups were out, a lot of whites were protesting against that too. But you get to see different types of whites versus if you were like with some of these blacks from rural communities, you never have to interact with a black person. So all you see are those images. So you scared as hell. All you see is the images of black people from TV. Those are the only images you see. Because you don't have a black doctor. You don't go to and some whites are on social services, but the social service representatives in the rural communities are white too. So the only way you see blacks, or the only way you see Mexicans are through the TV, and you just see these crazy images. If you're not really into that, you might be like, well, damn. I didn't have an opinion either way, but these motherfuckers do look crazy. Just like with the MTV, with those hardcore heavy metal rock groups, like I said, if it was just all whites, then those are the only whites I saw, I probably wouldn't want to interact with any white people. Not saying I was big on interacting with them anyway, but if that's all the whites I saw was the ones in those heavy metal bands, I'd probably be like, nah, man, these motherfuckers is crazy. They all got orange tongues and they all satanic and shit like that. But that's that's being in the inner city. You have to see other whites, and all the ones you see are not like that. But then some of the blacks that you see in the street, especially the young kids, they try to emulate what they see on the TV. Reality trying to imitate art. And then when people who only see us passing in the street see the videos and then see us trying to act, or some of the members of our race trying to act like that, they're like, oh, that shit is true. So if you happen to see anybody like that in your community, of course you're going to call the cops. I've heard rap songs where rappers pretty much say straight out, you can't trust me. What's that one guy was like Juicy J? He was like, if your bitch is bad, she's gonna get stuck. If you leave your drink around me, it's gonna get drunk up. You know what I'm saying? He pretty much saying you can't trust him, man. He's saying it straight out. Like he just telling you he ain't shit. Just like Tupac said in the movie to Omar Epps, he's like, I ain't shit and you less than a man to me. I mean, so you see that from another race, and then you see that emulated when you see them pass in the street, like, damn, maybe they ain't shit. So that affects that swing vote. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just playing a hypothetical, man. Just something to think about. But it's a deep, that's a deeper component to look at it, man. I never looked at it from that perspective, because it's just like, what if there is a swing vote? What if you got those KKK motherfuckers that no matter what, or you have a racist Mexican or a racist, Puerto Rican or whatever, they're going to hate blacks regardless. Then you have the ones that love us and they're going to love us regardless. Then you got that big group in the middle that called the swing vote. So they don't care either way, but their opinions can be affected based on what they see. And almost all of the most popular rap shows blacks in positions where, what I'm saying? I mean, it's not positive. So that affects, a lot of the stuff in the media show, the way we're portrayed, the Tyler Perry with the homo stuff. I mean, so a lot of images out there don't reflect positive of black male masculinity or black female femininity or the racial group as a whole. So if you're from one of those groups where you don't have to interact with black people, would it be easy for you to get confused? Because like I said, I see a lot of these skits where white people are calling the police on. I think one time, I think this young black boy started his own lawn mowing, his own yard business. He's like 10 years old. Something I wanted to do when I was his age. But I didn't really have the support like that. Boo-hoo, But he actually did it, and he was mowing the lawn or whatever, and somebody called the cops on him, man. It was believed to be a white person. Called the cops on him. He said he mowed another part of the lawn. Saw this other skit, man, where, like I said, with the lady and her kids, they went up to this house twice. I guess they dropped off a paper and then found out the paper was dropped off at the wrong house, so they went back to get it, and a white lady called the cops. These blacks were sitting outside of a restaurant after they ate, and cops came out and told them that the owners don't want you out here. And they was like, "What? I can't understand. We just paid our money." And they wanted to go back in and ask a question, and they couldn't. The owner didn't want them even on the property at all after they finished eating. So it looked suspicious. You know, even when I was at the gas station the other day, man, I was trying to, I was trying to pump first so I can fill my tank up. And I noticed that the lady inside made it so I couldn't pump, man. So she's like, well, based on people driving off without paying, and I knew what that meant. So I said, hey, I'm used to it. I just gave her my money up front, you know what I'm saying, and just went ahead and was done with it. And she tried to, roll over it, but I'm used to it. I know what it's about. But you know what I'm saying, and I'm not saying it's right, but the way certain factors are out there, man, it's like we don't, people are put in a position where it's better for them to be safe and sorry. We become I think the black race, the black community has become the face of everything that's pretty much bad, man. The face of being the hustler, the face of being the pimp, the face of being a drug dealer, the face of being the murderers, and all that. And even though most of our people are working class, I mean, we do have a disproportionate number of people in prison, and some have committed crimes. And I realize some of that is based on your social economic situation. And I do realize that we don't control the media, but at the same time, the things we can control, we don't really, sometimes some of us don't do a good job in controlling what we can control. Because if that's out there, if your kids go out there and act accordingly or act at least halfway decent, then that swing vote can't say, oh, yeah, well, they're acting just like what I saw on TV, because we don't really have group think, I think, as a race, meaning we don't think about, what other people, we don't think about how the world views us. Like our favorite first thing is, I don't give a fuck, but not giving a fuck is not going to help the situation. It actually makes it worse. Like NWA had that started that motto. I don't give a fuck. That's the problem. But not giving a fuck is just symbolic of defeated people. People who don't care anymore. But not caring is not going to stop the game from going on. Not caring is not going to free you. I guess it may free you in certain ways as far as you not having to care, but it ultimately makes things worse. Because without you caring, now you're not trying to do anything to protect yourself out here. Because the game keeps going on. You're not going to win by just tapping out. The world will still stomp on you and stomp on you and stomp on you until it stomps you to dust. Not caring is not going to stop anything. It ain't going to stop shit. So ultimately, I mean, that's just a thought, man. Just something I was thinking about. But that's why what I might entitle this video, the swing vote. How well are we affecting the swing vote? Because a lot of blacks that do want to take over, I mean, and just say, for example, our race did want to take over and have the top spot and want, say we actually had the will to actually want to be the race that's calling all the shots. Let's say if I think that's been beaten out of most of us. But say, for example, we did want to be the race that's calling all the shots, right? The shot callers, Instead of the White House, we'd have the Black House, right? Let's say we wanted to actually do that. You have to prove to the people that you're a better choice than what's in position now. Meaning you can't be, super arrogant, or you can't at least let that show like that. If you show that you're prissy, or you show that you have a shitty attitude, and the people in charge don't have that attitude, then you're not convincing the people that you're a better option to run the world. And a lot of us, like especially a lot of the black females, talking about they're too cute to drive in this car. They don't do this, they don't do that, even though they don't come from wealth. and the average black female is worth less than $5. But that's my point. And then you'll find the average white female humble. So it's like, well, no, I don't want that choice. We might as well keep what we have. So just something to mull, just something to think about, man. But just let me know what you think, man. I'm going a bit too far with this, but be sure to like, subscribe. Let me know what you think, man. Does that swing vote? Does that really make sense to you or not? And I'll let you guys go, man. All right, take care.